Pure Fiction is finally here. It's the newest endgame mode that we got in Star Rail, and it seems to have basically flipped the meta on its head. Turn around and show its rear if you may. Flip it like Kratos flipped Tyr's temple, if I so dare. Anyway, with the meta change, many of you might be wondering, or not, what characters to use to fully clear Pure Fiction, and today I'm gonna give you exactly that. But before we start, we gotta do question of the day. What do you think of Pure Fiction, and have you fully cleared it yet? And without further ado, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Join the Express Train Discord server, and as always, enjoy the video. Let's start off this list with our queen, Kafka. Kafka, I feel, seems to be very underrated for Pure Fiction. Everyone is hyping up the other characters and they seem to have forgotten Kafka. Kafka's biggest quality is obviously her ability to apply dot, and dot, if you've used it in Pure Fiction, seems to synergize very well with the current shatter effect. Kafka's burst hits 5 targets as well, and every time you use a burst, shatter is indeed applied. You're also most likely gonna use Kafka with Gwenaifen and Sampo to maximize her dot capability, but they synergize even better here because they also have bursts that hit 5 targets. So it makes applying shatter all the more easier. So, with her high amount of damage and synergy with shatter, and her supports synergy with shatter, I will give Kafka an S ranking for Pure Fiction. Just don't use Luca, not here at least. Also, Gwenaifen and Sampo both get an A tier. Second on the list, we've got the original queen, Himeko. I mentioned before that Pure Fiction flipped the meta upside down, and this is exactly why. Himeko used to be one of the least used characters in the Himeko main subreddit, with a bunch of copers high off their ass on copium. But now we've been tricked and backstabbed by the meta as it rotates a full 180 degrees and gives Himeko the stage. Himeko is obviously an AER Addition character with a pretty powerful burst and follow-up attack. She was only never used that often because she is way out DPS by the newer characters. The reason for that is there were never really enough enemies whose weakness we could break to activate her follow-up attack enough, to increase her DPS output as well as give her energy for her ultimate. But now, with Pure Fiction, spawning enemy after enemy after enemy, you can break as many weaknesses as you like and watch Himeko launch her follow-up attacks and bursts as many times as your inner Himeko main heart desires. Your enemies indeed won't get away. For insane potential with activating many follow-up attacks and therefore bursts, I give Himeko an S tier. She's also really good with the Archduke set. Let's take a little break from the list and discuss AER Addition. My dear friend Sugary Gotcha made a video about the master plan to fix AER Addition, but I think there is indeed no need. AER Addition has been fixed with the advent of Pure Fiction. There are almost always 5 enemies on the field, and so these characters will almost always have their maximum damage potential ready to be unleashed. But I think this only half applies to Jing Yuan, Argenti, Serval, and Jing Shui. The reason is they don't really have a follow-up attack that relies on many enemies getting their weakness broken, or their health dropping below 50. AER Addition definitely got a buff, but it's 2 and 3 and 4 times over with characters like Himeko. And the next on our list, Herta. By the way, lightning round. Argenti gets an S tier, Jing Yuan gets an A tier, and Jing Shui and Serval both get the B tier. By the way, I won't mention any other characters in tiers below A, since this video is only about the best characters to use. I only mentioned QQ and Serval because I said their name. Herta mains were definitely on a load more copium than whatever Himeko mains were on, but now, again, we are tricked, backstabbed, and bamboozled by the meta, as Herta mains get to shove their big diamond wherever they want now. Herta, much like Himeko, has a really good follow-up attack that has a specific niche. While Himeko relies on many weakness breaks over and over again, Herta relies on, as previously mentioned, the target's HP dropping below 50%, with Pure Fiction mobs spawning in over and over again, and most of them being little guys. You can drop many HP bars below 50% and watch that Herta Kuru over and over again. For that reason, and for her being a free E6 4-star, Herta also gets the S tier. Again, I will say the following words. The meta has been flipped upside down. Another reason for this though is that Pure Fiction relies solely on damage. You don't need to keep your characters alive at all. And so what many people do is they put 4 DPS characters in each team and say, "Fuck it, we ball and go ham." And while this video is focusing on DPS characters, I do think there are a couple of sustained characters that have a lot of potential in Pure Fiction, and purely because of the shatter effect. These characters are Fushan and Lua. Both of them, of course, are the best sustained characters in the game, but they both also have ultimates that hit 5 targets. Now, care to guess why that's good? Exactly. Good job. The shatter effect. Ultimates apply shatter, shatter shatters the enemy. They also keep your team alive so you can keep cranking out that sweet D. PS. For both of these reasons, Fushan and Lua both get an S tier rating. Now, an unexpected challenger appears. We have Clara. Clara, or Svarog, as I've noticed, is very good in this game mode, and especially when her burst is active, because she does very good counter damage outside of her turn. This makes sure that even when the enemies are taking a turn, you have a chance of killing them. This will obviously make your runs a load more efficient and will keep you running and gunning and laser blasting towards that 3-star clear. Clara definitely found a new place in the meta just like Himeko and Herta, but she's a lot less spoken about. For her high damage output outside of her turn, I will give Clara an S ranking as well. Next up we have Danheng, IL, Blade, and Jingliu. I lumped them all in together because they're probably currently the best DPS characters in the game regardless of mode. However, all of them, they only attack 3 targets at a time maximum. Jingliu is a lot better than Danheng IL because of her skill point efficiency, giving more room to other DPS characters, and undoubtedly better DPS than Danheng IL, and because she can do many more attacks in a row than him. Blade is also a lot better since he can be paired up with Jingliu to activate his talent more and his very skill point positive kit, and good damage output. As usual, in all tier lists, Jingliu will get an S tier. Danheng IL, however, will get an A tier. He uses way too many skill points and therefore is way too much of a selfish DPS to make using him in pure fiction better than the other characters in S tier. Blade will also get an A tier because his damage is just not on par with Jingliu's. And that concludes my list for the best DPS characters and Fushan and Lua to use in pure fiction. Pure fiction is definitely very fun. It toppled the meta over, tackled it, dunked on it, and then rebuilt it from the ground up. Everyone's forced to build new characters and try out more of the characters on their account. This is indeed a very good thing for Star Rail. I hope you found this list useful and enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, comment and share, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.